Jules Frédéric Ballavoine, Between Beauty and Illusion 4. What draws us to beauty, and when does beauty become illusion? In the quiet corridors of 19th-century French art, Jules Frédéric Ballavoine emerges as a figure both refined and elusive, a painter shaped by discipline, yet drawn toward emotional softness and visual charm. Born in Paris in 1842, Ballavoine belonged to a world where art was governed by tradition. He trained at the renowned École des Beaux-Arts, an institution that demanded precision, control, and deep respect for classical ideals. This was the domain of academic art, where artists pursued perfection, not the imperfect reality of life, but an elevated version of it. And Ballavoine followed this path, but not without adding his own quiet complexity. 4. His work often centered on the female figure, nude or clothed, presented with softness, grace, and a sense of calm stillness. At first glance, these paintings seem simple, even decorative, but beneath the surface lies something more subtle. Ballavoine's figures exist in a space between reality and fantasy. Their skin is flawless, their expressions restrained, their world untouched by hardship. This is where the idea of kitsch begins to emerge, a style often misunderstood, sometimes dismissed as overly sentimental or idealized. Yet kitsch is not just about excess beauty. It is about emotional accessibility. It invites the viewer in, gently, without confrontation. In Ballavoine's work, beauty becomes a language of comfort, a carefully constructed illusion where everything feels harmonious, even if reality is not. There is a psychological tension here, between truth and desire. Why do we gravitate toward images that soften reality? Why does the human mind find peace in perfection? In times of social change and uncertainty, artists like Ballavoine offered something stable, a visual refuge. His paintings do not challenge the viewer aggressively. They do not disrupt. Instead, they soothe. They create a world where form is balanced, where emotion is controlled, and where beauty is always within reach. 4. Alongside his nudes, Ballavoine also explored portraiture, capturing individuals not as they were, but as they could be seen at their most refined. These portraits reflect another layer of his artistic philosophy: identity as presentation. The self, not as raw truth, but as something shaped, curated, and idealized. In this sense, his work feels surprisingly modern. It echoes the way we still construct images of ourselves today, filtered, polished, and carefully composed. Yet, as the art world began to change, movements like Impressionism started to rise. Artists turned toward light, movement, and fleeting reality. They embraced imperfection. Against this backdrop, Ballavoine's work stood still, rooted in tradition, resistant to disruption. Some would say it became outdated. But perhaps that stillness is exactly what gives it meaning now. Ballavoine lived through decades of transformation, remaining dedicated to his vision until the early 20th century. He did not chase innovation. He refined what he already believed in. And in doing so, he left behind a body of work that quietly asks, is art meant to reflect reality, or to reshape it? 4. There is no single answer. But in the soft light of Ballavoine's paintings, in the stillness of his figures, and in the gentle perfection he pursued, we are reminded of something deeply human. The desire not just to see the world as it is, but to imagine it as it could be.